Hi, I'm Harold Bell, and this is the Legends of Inside Sports and the Way We Were. Did you know the month of January is the month of champions? Big George Foreman was born on January 10th. Big Joe Frazier was born on January 12th. Dr. Martin Luther King was born on January 15th, and the greatest, Muhammad Ali's birthday, is January 17th. Another champion, my friend, and a champion in the game called life, CEO of the 100 Black Men in Atlanta, Georgia, Big John Hodges' birthday falls on January 16th. He is caught between Dr. King and the greatest. He says, Harold, I am proud to be born among champions. I would like to say happy birthday to all the champions. The month of February has been designated as Black History Month. Will someone please explain to me what does the black athlete in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and the few black players in the National Hockey League, what will be their reason to celebrate these great champions as it relates to Black American history? What will be their legacy and contribution? Will their legacy and contribution fall short of Jackie Robinson, Kurt Flood, Paul Robeson, track and field giants like Jesse Owens, Mel Whitfield, Tommy Smith, and John Carlos? Ali and Dr. King gave their lives to allow them to stand for something and not fall for just anything. These athletes should hang their heads and confess they dropped the ball. Recently, a CNN media personality wrote a blog titled What MLK Might Say to Donald Trump. My question in response would be what MLK might say to Black America, especially the black athlete. I think he would say, you're not keeping hope alive. In 1955, Rosa Parks in Montgomery, Alabama, refused to go to the back of the bus. She sparked the modern-day civil rights movement, and Dr. Martin Luther King emerged as its leader. My first encounter with racial injustice in America was 1960, when four black students who were enrolled at North Carolina A&T College in Greensboro, North Carolina said enough is enough. On February 1st, 1960, the four freshmen, Ezell Blair Jr., Franklin McCain, Joseph McNeil, and David Richmond walked downtown and sat in at the whites-only lunch counter at Woolworth's department store. They refused to leave, and that act of defiance revolutionized and inspired the ongoing civil rights movement. The movement would move 30 miles south to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and on to the campus of Winston-Salem Teachers College. Against the wishes of our coach, the legendary Clarence Big House Gaines, to stay away from downtown, there were four defiant athletes who ignored his request. They were Al Mayo, D.C., Bonnie Hood, Chicago, Luther and Wally, Lynchburg, Virginia, and Harold Bell, Washington, D.C. We piggybacked off of the Greensboro Four. I had no clue I would ever see that kind of racism surface again in America. It has been almost 60 years, and in our everyday walk of life, especially in entertainment and pro sports, racism has come out of the closet with a vengeance. The Oscars, blackout in Hollywood, and the NFL boycott led by Colin Kaepernick were again wake-up calls to Black America. Entertainment and sports have been the standard bearers for equal opportunity. These two entities are now being used as the vehicles to remind us that we are still considered second-class citizens. The call to arms A summons to engage in active hostilities was led by a president, a NFL owner, and a pizza mogul. My first wake-up call to racism at work in my hometown came in a sports arena known as the Capitol Center, located in Landover, Maryland in 1974. The arena was the home of the NBA Washington Bullets. It was shortly after I became a sports talk show radio host on WOOK AM radio in 1970, making me a pioneer, a first in Washington, D.C. My colleague, a white reporter named Frank Pastor, and I were standing at the top of the arena waiting for a break in the action on the floor when he brought to my attention how the press table was divided. The divide: white media sat on the left side of the half-court line and black media sat on the right side of the half-court line. I suggested we switch seats at the table, and we did, quietly integrating the Washington Bullets press table. Several games later, I noticed everyone at the table had been issued a media guide but me. I brought the oversight to the attention of the Director of Media Relations, Mark Splaver. He walked away without a word, only to return a few minutes later to toss the guide on the table in front of me and walk away again. This time I got up and followed him. But the president of the Capitol Center, Jerry Sachs, sitting in a front row seat, stepped in front of me. He said, "Harold, I got this." During halftime, Mark returned to the table and apologized for his actions. He said I was having a bad day and I didn't mean to take it out on you. Well, some in white America have been having a bad day ever since. I emphasize some because I learned through trial and error that every black face I see is not my brother, and every white face I see is not my enemy. Meet Jerry Sachs and the late Jaime Perlow, Director of Communications. They were class acts in every sense of the word. I remember when Bill Taffy of the Washington Star wrote a lionizing column titled "Talk Show Host Harold Bell Blazes a Path." Jerry wrote me a note of congratulations and mailed it to the radio station. And this is what he said: "Harold, I want to congratulate you on the fine column written about you by William Taft of the Star. Taft's compliments certainly speaks well of your individual talent and of the format you have selected for your program. I look forward to seeing you once again as the Bullet season gets underway. Once again, congratulations and best wishes. Cordially, Jerry Sachs." That's the type of class act that was at the Capitol Center then. Even though everything wasn't apple pie, there still was some class people there. And when I was named Washingtonian of the Year by Washingtonian Magazine, Jaime Perlow playfully cussed me out and said, "You're getting a little too big for your britches, Harold Bell." This was the first time that Washingtonian Magazine had honored a sports media personality as Washingtonian of the Year. When I think overall, it was a great atmosphere for everyone. Players, administrators, media, and fans. It was like one big happy family. Bob Ferry, the general manager, and Bob Zerflu, director of sales, played in my celebrity tennis tournament. Even Jerry Sachs knew the format and topics of discussion I chose on Inside Sports were unheard of. With the likes of Stephen A. Smith, James Brown, Michael Wilbon, David Aldridge, Kevin Blackstone, Glenn Harris, Bill Rhoden, and Ken Birch. When they arrived on the sports media scene, I had already opened the door and set the table. They followed my lead. In New York City, Art Russ was an early black pioneer as a radio sports reporter, but he did not have his own show until the late 70s and 80s. The Inside Sports format changed the way we talk sports in America. I remember Jaime Perlow called me into his office one day to tell me that the Bullets were looking for a replacement for Chuck Taylor on the Bullets broadcast. This came as a surprise to me because I thought Chuck, the brother, was doing a great job. Jaime had recommended me as the replacement, but his friend and owner, Abe Poland, said Harold Bell is a little too controversial. Enter James Brown, who sought and received the support of Mr. Poland's adopted son, Wes Unseld. James Brown is another story in its entirety. To read the latest rip-off and scam of the black athlete, see the Earl Lord story, the first to play. Condoning this charade and rip-off are writers, radio and television personalities to include James Brown, Michael Wilbon, Kevin Blackstone, Bill Rhoden, Cortland Malloy, Colby King, Bruce Johnson, Mike Wise, Dave McKenna, Stephen A. Smith, and former players Bill Russell, Dave Bing, Oscar Robertson, and NBA playground legend Sonny Hill. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver of the is even in on it. NBA Players Associate Director Michelle Roberts even have condoned this ripoff. This is a letter that I received from Commissioner Adam Silver. Say, dear Mr. Bell, thank you for sharing your concerns with me regarding the first to play, the documentary on Earl Lord. Preserving and honoring our history is very important to the NBA. And during the NBA All-Star game in February, the National Basketball Association Players Union hosted Earl Lord's family and other guests for a screening of the film. Thank you again for taking the time to reach out to us. Sincerely, Adam. You see what I'm saying? So none of them can say that they didn't know. And I told Akka, the guy, the brains behind this thing, the guy, the Indian who's behind this thing, I said, look, man, delete my part in this documentary. I don't want to be a part of no scam. You understand? I don't want to be a part of no scam. Take me out. Delete me. Well, that's going to be it for the Legends of Inside Sports. So you want to read the rest of this commentary that I've written about Earl Lord and this scam going on in the NBA being condoned by those in the media, just go to blackmeninamerica.com and the original Inside Sports. I just want to say, I'm Harold Bell. Until the next time, just remember that every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy. Have a great day.